Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today, I'm talking about my most expensive albums according to the median sale price on Discogs. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So like I said in the intro, this is all based off of the median sale price on Discogs. I didn't want to use the highest sale price because I feel like there's some sales out there that kind of skew numbers, and some things get sold at super inflated rates and kind of throw off that sale price. So I went off of just the median sale price and just an average of what these sell on Discogs. And I didn't include any box sets in this list either because, box sets are typically higher price on resale. So this is just like standard releases out of my collection. I guess I should also add that I'm not looking to ever sell my record collection. It's just a fun thing to do every year to kind of see where the prices land in my top 10. So the album I've got at number 10. This is one that has been in my top 10 the last couple of years. It's actually started to kind of slide down in my top 10. But that is the 30th anniversary pressing of Pink Floyd's great album, The Dark Side of the Moon, my favorite album of all time. So this is a 2003 pressing. Like I said, it's the 30th anniversary release. So the median sale price on Discogs is $150.54. This is an album I've bought 2 copies of. So this is the second copy of this that I bought. The first copy I bought, I want to say I spent probably maybe 80 or 85 bucks, and when I got it, it didn't have the insert on the front cover. And I know that doesn't really make any difference at all, but I wanted to have it having the full package, having the insert and everything. So I bought a second copy. Actually, I found a second copy on eBay for even cheaper. I think I paid like 65 or 70 bucks for this copy here. And like I said, median sale price now is up over 150 bucks. The album that I've got at number 9 is an album that used to be a lot higher up on my list, but it's definitely come down in price over the last year or so, and that is Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo by MXPX. This is an original pressing from 1998. This thing used to sell for well over $200. Median sale price for this one is down to $172.94. My wife actually picked this up for me for my birthday, probably several years ago now, but and I'm sure she probably paid a lot more than the 172. Like I said, it used to go for well over $200. It was really hard to find. 1998, they weren't really pressing a lot of albums, but this one got reissued last year, and ever since then, the price has definitely come down, to what it is now. At number 8 is an album I think was in my top 10 last year. I think it was like right on the edge, like 9 or 10 on my list last year. It's come up in value. This is an album that I never expected to retain this kind of value, and that is Young Sinatra 4 by Logic. So Logic is known more for his album Everybody, which up until this year has been on my list every year that I've done this list, but it got reissued within the last 6 months, so the prices have really tanked on that release. But the median sale price on this album is $173.52. The reason that some of the Logic's albums have kind of retained this value is for a couple of, like this album with Everybody, there's a couple other albums that he released where they only pressed whatever the pre-sale was. And then that's it. They didn't press anything after that. Everybody was released in, I think, 2017, and it just finally got reissued within the last 6 months. So it takes a long time for him to reissue his albums. But if you're a fan of 2010's rap, this is a great album. The album at number 7 on my list is an album that I never would have thought was going to be worth 50 bucks, let alone over $150. And that is Hail Satin by the DGs. So this is the Foo Fighters. It's a kind of a split album. First half of this album, the Foo Fighters are covering Bee Gees songs. The second half is all live material, songs off of Medicine at Midnight. So this was released in 2021 as an RSD release. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I was even going to get a copy of it, just because, it seemed kind of like a quirky kind of release, but I decided to grab a copy of it. The median sale price on this thing has reached $173.91. If you want a bootleg copy of this, even that sells for like 40 or 50 bucks. This is one of those albums I'm really surprised has retained this kind of value. I'm sure I say this every year, but the album that I've got at number 6, I'm surprised has not been reissued. It's an absolute shock this album has not been reissued. and that is Unplugged by Alice in Chains. This came out, so this is a 2010 pressing. I've got this music on vinyl release. This is the standard black release. There was a limited color version that they did, which goes for even more money. But this black version goes for the median sale price on Discogs, $235.59. The funny thing was, when I bought this album, I passed on it multiple times. Every time I saw it at the record store, I pick it up and look at it. There's a couple times I even carried it around the record store and ended up putting it back. I love this Unplugged album. It's probably my favorite Unplugged show or Unplugged album. But when I picked it up, when I bought it, I think it was like $42 or $45. Music on vinyl releases tend to be more expensive. And at the time, I was picking up a lot of albums for like $20 or $25. So it was a lot of money to drop on an album. Like I said, I went back and forth. It was a couple of times I saw it in the record store. Finally, I decided to buy a copy of it. And when I bought this copy, this was literally the last pressing I've seen in the wild anywhere that wasn't like multiple hundreds of dollars. But it's an album that really, really needs to be reissued. Hopefully, the anniversary, I think, is what 19. This was released in 1996, so I think we got 2 more years before we hit the 30th anniversary. Hopefully, at some point within the next couple of years, this one will get reissued. So the album at number 5 is one that I was really kind of surprised had blown up in value over the last couple of years. I didn't realize that it was worth as much, as it is until I was just looking up for this video. But number 5 is Folklore by Taylor Swift. This is the In the Weeds version. I think there was 9 or 10 different variants of this album when it was released. There's a bunch of copies of it out there. That's why I was really surprised the value has gotten up to as high as it is. So the median sale price on this version is $262.50. It is the second most valuable of the variants on Discogs. Like I said, as many copies of this one that's out there, I'm really surprised it's kind of retained this kind of value. So normally when I do these top 10 lists, I normally exclude any kind of specialty pressing. So that's MoFi One Step or UHQR releases, just because they tend to be more expensive. List price on them are typically like $100 to $150. So they're normally worth a lot of money on resale markets. But number 4 is the album that's the only specialty pressing I have in my top 10, and that is the UHQR pressing of Jethro Tull's Aqualung. This came out back in 2020. So this album was notoriously recorded poorly. The album never sounded bad. It just never sounded great either. So I was really interested to see what UHQR was going to do with this. This was released in, like I said, 2020. It was like $125, I want to say, when it was released. I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to grab it. And, this is all pressed on Clarity vinyl. It sounds awesome. I think this is the best this album is ever going to sound. The difference is they use the original release on this album. So this is not the Steve Wilson remix, which I know a lot of people out there love, but I really love the original mix of this album. And the UHQR version, I think, is hands down the best sounding version of this album out there. The album at number 3 is one that I knew was going to be worth a lot. This is a very limited release. I think there's only 152 copies of this album that were released last year. It's not a super popular album either. The album is Find a Way Home by MXPX. The reason that this one is so limited is because I think I did a whole video on it also. It's pressed on glow in the dark. It's a sand-filled glow in the dark album, which is kind of cool. It's one of those really novelty pressings. It tends to go for a lot of money. Median sale price on this one is $309.98. I think it's only been sold a couple of times on Discogs. These kind of pressings, these very rare, like really specialty pressings, tend to go for a lot. If you look at the, what was the one that just came out? The Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains. It was the same company that pressed this, did the specialty pressing on that one also. And it was, had flies embedded in the album. You go on Discogs and look, or on eBay, I think that thing sells for well over $1,000. So it's kind of cool to see these kind of specialty pressings, these really novelty pressings come out, because they're always super limited and they're always kind of a fun release. So the album at number 2 is one that absolutely blew up over the last year. I never thought it was going to be this high on the list. I knew it would have some kind of value, but nothing close to what it is now, especially considering they sold 120,000 copies of this album. But that is Folklore, The Long Pond Sessions by Taylor Swift. So this is an RSD release from last year. There's over 120,000 copies of this worldwide, and it sold out basically in a day. So the median sale price on this one is up to $318.23, which I think is it's insane considering how many copies of this there was released out there. And we kind of were even talking on the Facebook group when RSD happened last year, how quickly this album was going to sell out. And I thought, because of how many copies there were of it, I really thought it would take probably a week or more for it to sell out. I had no idea people were going to line up around the block all over the world to pick up a copy of this one. So the difference is this is a little bit more acoustic than what you're getting on the standard release of this album. I love Folklore. I think it's probably her best album, but I think these versions are better than what you're getting on the studio version. So that brings me to the number one album, the most expensive in my record collection, according to the median sale price on Discogs. And it's an album that I'm sure is going to get reissued over the next couple of years, and the price is going to go way down on this one. But this is the original pressing from 1995 of Jethro Tull's Roots to Branches. This is an album that I picked up, I think it was either early 2020 or late 2019. I got it for a good price, considering what it sells for now. I think I paid probably around $140 for this album. So the median sale price on this one is $336.96. So it's definitely gone up in value since I picked up this album. And it was released in 1995. They weren't pressing a lot of albums. It is really hard to find a copy of this. And I've seen this thing sell for upwards of $700 or $800 on Discogs and eBay. Jethro Tull's slowly been reissuing stuff over the last couple of years. They've been doing a lot of the Steve Wilson stuff. Ian Anderson is just finally releasing a lot of his solo material on vinyl for the first time. So I would assume there's a reissue of this that's going to happen, hopefully over the next couple of years. But I'm sure the price on this one's going to go down. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what some of your most expensive albums, according to Discogs, are. I know there's going to be comments on there. Oh, who cares? People shouldn't get into buying records for the value of them. And that's true. And it's not what I do either. I definitely buy records to enjoy them, but it's always fun to kind of go back and see how much these things are selling for and see kind of the value you have in your record collection. I'm always shocked by a couple of releases in there, but let me know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below. And that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.